Good morning dear students. In this video we will discuss about the previous year questions which are asked from thermodynamics chapter. So in that the first question, so these are the questions which are asked for previous year NEET exam and JEE exam. We will see question wise. So the first question related to this chapter is the bond dissociation energies of x2, y2 and x5 are in the ratio of 1:0.5:1. So these are the bond dissociation energies of x2, y2 and x5. Okay, so now delta H for the formation of x5 is minus 200 kilojoules per mole, and the bond dissociation energy of x2 will be, we want to find out bond dissociation energy of x2. So the question here is find out bond dissociation energy of x2. So in the data they have given the bond dissociation of x2, y2 and x5 as ratio, that is 1:0.5:1, and delta H for the formation of xy is also given. For the formation of xy, the delta H value is minus 200 kilojoules per mole. Now we want to find out what is the bond dissociation energy of x2. Okay, so first write down the equation related to this. So x2 plus y2, when these two undergo reaction, it can form xy. Okay, x2 and y2 undergo reaction and can form xy. If you balance the reaction, 2 moles of x is there, 2 moles of y is there, then 2 moles of xy is formed. Just write down and balance the reaction. Now according to the question, the ratios of x2, y2 and x5 they have given in 1:0.5:1. That means these two are in 1 and this is half of the ratio of the other two. So just imagine the bond dissociation energy of x2 as A, and bond dissociation of y2 is half in that. So 0.5 place in that we can take half A. Okay, we can take half A, or we can also take it as A by 2. Half A or A by 2, because it is half. If we are considering it as 1, in that half is 0.5. So A by 2 or half A is the bond dissociation energy of y2. And bond dissociation of xy is also given, that is 1. Consider as A. But here we are taking 2 moles of xy. Then its bond dissociation energy becomes double. A becomes 2A. That's it. Okay. Now we will see the formula to calculate bond dissociation energy of x2. So the formula is bond dissociation energy delta H equals to bond dissociation energy of reactant minus bond dissociation energy of product. So this is the formula. So change in enthalpy or delta H value for the formation of x2 is always equals to bond dissociation energy of R, that is reactant, minus bond dissociation energy of product. Now we will apply this values of x2 reactants and products in the formula. So these two are the reactants and this is the product. So bond dissociation energies we know. Bond dissociation energy of x2 is taken as A, y2 is taken as A by 2 and xy is taken as A. For 2 moles it is 2A. Now apply that. Bond dissociation energy of x2 is A plus bond dissociation of y2 is A by 2. Now minus bond dissociation energy of product. So product bond dissociation energy is 2A. Then A plus A by 2 minus 2A. Okay. A minus 2A is a minus A. A minus 2A is minus A. Then A by 2 minus A. We can also write in the form of A minus A by 2. So this is the answer, final answer according to the formula. Now So they have given the value of xy bond dissociation. So formation of delta H for the formation of xy is given as 200 kilojoules per mole. Understand? Now apply this. See here I am taking for 1 mole of xy. For the formation of 1 mole of xy, the value is given, that is 200 minus 200 kilojoules per mole. Okay, for formation of 1 mole of xy, but here 2 moles are there. Then 2 moles, for 2 moles of xy formation, what is the answer? You just cross multiply. 200 into 2 divided by 1 minus 200 into 2 divided by 1. Just cross multiplication. 200 minus 200 into 2 is minus 400 kilojoules per mole. So this is for 2 moles of xy formation, change in enthalpy. Okay, you just apply here that value. So 400 delta H value we have found, that is minus 400. Now minus 400 is equals to A by 2. Okay, then A is equals to this A we want. Take this side. A becomes equals to 400. When minus comes this side, 400 into 2, that is 800 kilojoules per mole. So this is the final answer. So this is about the A value. What is A here? A is nothing but change in enthalpy for x2. Change in enthalpy for x2. So that change in enthalpy for x2 is finally found as 800 kilojoules per mole. So the answer is third one. So this is the answer. So finally the bond dissociation energy of x2. The bond dissociation energy of x2A is taken as or found as 800 kilojoules per mole. Now we will see the next question. So now see the next question. For a given reaction, delta H value is 35.5 kilojoules per mole. They didn't mention the reaction, only they have mentioned for a given reaction delta H value, and delta S value as 83.6 joules Kelvin inverse and mole inverse. It is given in kilojoules and it is given in joules. The reaction is spontaneous. Okay, they have given a clue that the reaction is spontaneous. Assume that delta H and delta S does not vary with the temperature. Okay, they are not varying with the temperature. At any temperature, they have given the reaction. Okay, so first look at the question carefully. For a reaction, delta H value is given and delta S value is also given. Okay, the reaction is spontaneous. This is our clue. Okay, assume that delta S and delta H does not vary with the temperature. Temperature might be constant or it may also changes. Okay, so now we want to find out, so which delta G value for that or temperature value for that. So for that, for a spontaneous reaction, we will write the formula. The formula is delta G is equals to delta H minus T delta H. That is change in Gibbs free energy equation for a particular reaction or spontaneous reaction. Delta G equals to delta H minus T delta S. If a reaction is spontaneous, then this delta G value is always negative. Remember, for a spontaneous reaction, delta G value is negative. If it is negative, we may also take it in less than 0. Negative values are always less than 0. Then we can also take for a spontaneous reaction, delta G value is negative or it is less than 0. You can write here if you want. For a spontaneous reaction, delta G is negative or delta G is less than 0. You have to keep this in mind, because it is by using this only we will find out. Okay, so then if it becomes less than 0, then we will write this, or if it is become negative, we will write this reaction as, that means this is less than 0, then delta H is minus T delta S is less than 0. Instead of delta G, we can write less than 0, because for a spontaneous reaction, delta G is less than 0. Okay, next. So if you separate this term, delta H is less than T delta S, it becomes like this. If you take this delta S value to this side, why we want to take this? To get the answer. Then delta H by delta S is less than T. Okay, from this equation, when you take delta S this side, delta H divided by delta S is less than T. Now delta H and delta S values is given in the problem. Okay, note it down. Delta H value is 35.5 kilojoules per mole and delta S value is 83.6. Delta S value is 83.6 joules. Remember, these two not in the same units. It is in kilojoules, it is given in joules. In an exam hurry, don't calculate by using the same values. You just first want to convert kilojoules into joules. Okay, or joules into kilojoules. So that is your wish. So for 1 kilojoule is always equals to 10 to the power of 3 joules. Remember this point. 1 kilojoule is always equals to 10 to the power of 3 joules. Now you can convert this kilojoules into joules. Then 35 point, delta H value is 35.5 into 10 to the power of 3 joules. 35.5 into 10 to the power of 3 joules. We have converted kilojoules into joules, divided by 83.6 joules, which is less than T. By calculating this complete value, okay, by calculating this complete value, you will get the value as, which is 425 kelvins. Okay, 425 kelvins you will get. See, after calculating these two values, you will get this much, 0.4246 into 10 to the power of 3 joules, which is less than T. And if you want to remove this 10 to the power of 3, move this point towards this side 3 digits. Then 1, 2, 3. We will get 424, 4.6. We may also take it as 5. 425 joules less than temperature. Less than temperature. 425 joules less than temperature, or temperature is greater than 425 kelvins. Here kelvins, sorry. Okay, temperature 425 kelvins is less than temperature, or temperature is greater than 425 kelvins. So the answer is temperature is greater than 425 kelvins. Okay, that is the answer for the second question. Now we'll see the next one. So now we'll see the next question. A gas is allowed to expand in a well insulated container against a constant external pressure at 2.5 atmosphere and from an initial volume of 2.5 liters to a final volume of 4.5 liters, the change in internal energy delta U of the gas in joules will be. We want to find out delta U value, that is change in internal energy. Okay, in joules we want to find out. So they have given initial volume and final volume. Okay, initial volume is 2.5 and final volume is 4.5 liters. Clear? And next, atmospheric pressure also they have mentioned, external pressure also mentioned, that is 2.5 liters. That means here the total reaction or a process is taking place in a well insulated container at a constant external pressure. Here external pressure is a constant value. You want to note it down. Okay, external pressure is constant. So then the reaction is said to be irreversible reaction. and the process is irreversible process. The process is irreversible at an external pressure. So then the work done for this process can be given in a expression. See, if it is blindly you can go, if it is a constant external pressure is given in the question, so then the reaction or the process is always said to be irreversible. No need to doubt or get a doubt out of this. So if it is external pressure, then the process is completely irreversible process. For a irreversible process, we know work done. So that work done, W is now equals to minus P external into delta V. This is the work done formula for a irreversible process, and here you know delta V value is equals to V2 minus V1. You may take delta V or you may take the difference between V2 and V1. So V1 is the initial volume. What is initial volume is given 2.5 liters, and V2 is the final volume. Final volume is 4.5 liters. And P external also is given. External pressure is 2.5 atmosphere. You just apply the value. P external value minus 2.5 into delta V, in the sense V2 minus V1. What is V2? 4.5 minus V1 value is 2.5. Okay, the difference between 4.5 and 2.5 is just 2. Then minus 2.5 into 2. Then the answer is 4.5, that is 5 atmospheric pressure. 5 liter, that is unit for volume. 5 liter atmosphere. So this is W value we got. Okay, 5 liter atmosphere we got. So now 1 liter atmosphere, we want to convert this in joules because we want to find out change in internal energy in joules only. Change in internal energy we want in joules. So we want to convert this atmospheres into joules. Then 1 liter atmosphere is always equals to 101.325 joules. This is constant value. 1 liter atmosphere is always equals to this much joules, 101.325 joules. Then you just multiply this value with 101. 5 into, it's minus 5. Minus 5 into 101.325. Okay, after calculating this you will get minus 506.625 joules. This is change in internal energy. So finally the change in internal energy equals to minus 506.625 joules. So the answer is the first one, 506.625. Okay, so like this they may also ask a question. You have to be ready to solve the answer. Now here is our next question. Now it is related to change in entropy, that is delta S value we will discuss. For a sample of perfect gas, when its pressure is changed isothermally from Pi, that is initial pressure, to Pf, final pressure, the entropy change is given by, we want to find out entropy change. So we want to find out here entropy change. Okay, for perfect gas which is changed isothermally. So isothermal in the sense where temperature is constant. Isothermal means temperature is constant. Okay, now we want to find out the answer. For a sample of perfect gas when its pressure is changed isothermally from Pi to Pf, initial pressure to final pressure, the entropy change we want to find out. Entropy change is given by delta S. So first we want to write the formula related to change in entropy. Change in entropy delta S is always equals to N Cv ln T2 by T1 plus N R ln V2 by V1. So this is the formula for change in entropy, whereas here it is taking place isothermally, that is temperature is constant. The total this term, temperature term becomes constant, that is 0. Okay, then need not to take. Finally delta S becomes equals to what? If the condition is temperature is 0, then delta S becomes equals to this much, N R ln V2 by V1. That's it. Okay, at a constant temperature. Now here temperature is constant according to Boyle's law. At a constant temperature, according to Boyle's law, pressure is inversely proportional to volume. At a constant temperature, according to Boyle's law, pressure is inversely proportional to volume. Then if V2 and V1 is given, V2 by V1 is given, this is equals to, according to this formula, this becomes equals to P1 by P2. Okay, according to this Boyle's law, pressure is inversely proportional to volume, whereas V2 by V1 value becomes equals to P1 by P2. So in place of V2 by V1, we can also replace P1 by P2. Then delta S equals to NR ln P1 by P2. Here what is P1? Initial pressure. P2 is final pressure. So instead of P1, P2, here they have given PF, PI, that is initial and final pressures. Now you can match this answer with the above formulas. So now the second option is having exactly relationship with this. Delta S equals to NR ln PI by PF. PI is nothing but initial pressure, PF is nothing but final pressure. So our answer is second one. Sometimes the same question may also ask for isochoric or isobaric process. If it is isochoric process, then volume is constant. For such process, volume is constant. For isothermal process, temperature is constant. For isochoric process, volume is constant. Then the same above formula, delta S is equals to NCV ln T2 by T1, whereas this term becomes now 0, plus NR ln V2 by V1. Now this total term becomes 0 or constant because isochoric process takes place at constant volume. So this volume term totally becomes equals to 0. Then delta S equals to CNCV ln T2 by T1. Whereas here temperature is not constant, thereby pressure is directly proportional to temperature. Okay, according to law, pressure is directly proportional to temperature. So T2 by T1 is now equals to P2 by P1. T2 by T1 becomes equals to P2 by P1. In place of T2 by T1, we may also write P2 by P1. Then delta S equals to NCV ln P2 by P1. This may also the correct answer, but it is not given in the options because it is related to isothermal process. If it is given as isochoric process, this is the answer. If it is isothermal, then it is an answer. For change in entropy, based on the process, you may also change the delta S value. Okay, that is about the fourth question. Now we will see the next question. The correct thermodynamic conditions for the spontaneous reaction. For spontaneous or non-spontaneous reaction, the correct thermodynamic conditions we want to find out. Okay, at all temperatures, that means at any temperature we want to find out for a spontaneous reaction what is thermal condition. So for that, take the formula, that is change in Gibbs free energy, delta G equals to delta H minus T delta S. Okay, this is change in Gibbs free energy, which is equals to delta H minus T delta S. For a spontaneous reaction, here they are giving about spontaneous reaction. For a spontaneous reaction, we know delta G value is negative or which is less than 0. Okay, delta G value is always negative. So to find out this correct thermodynamic reaction condition for any reaction, we have to follow a table. I am taking here a table. Okay, based on this table, we can easily find out the thermodynamic condition for any type of process, whether it is spontaneous or non-spontaneous. First, you want to remember here delta H value, because that is the condition to get whether it is spontaneous or not. If you know delta G is negative, then that is spontaneous. If it is positive, non-spontaneous. Like that we can find out by knowing the conditions of these two. Delta H and delta S, then temperature. Then you want to find out whether the process is spontaneous or non-spontaneous. Okay, so just take delta H value and delta S value as negative and positive. Okay, delta H value is negative, delta S value as positive at any temperature. Okay, now this delta S value, delta H value is what we have taken negative. Delta S value we have taken positive. Okay, positive into negative is negative. Positive into negative is negative. Negative of negative is negative. See, positive of delta S value into negative is negative. Negative of delta H value negative is negative. If it is negative, if this value is negative, then the reaction is or process is spontaneous. Okay, next, take the condition of delta H as positive and delta as negative. Okay, now delta H value as positive, delta S value as negative. Negative into negative is positive. Negative into negative is positive. Positive of positive is positive. Okay, at any temperature we are taking. If it is positive, then the process is non-spontaneous. Okay, now take the conditions of as both as positive, delta H as positive, delta S as positive. Okay, delta H is positive, delta S is also positive. Positive of negative is negative. Positive into negative is negative. Negative of positive is negative. Okay, if the temperature is less, here temperature condition changes. When temperature is less, just imagine. Okay, negative, here both we are taking as positive. Positive into negative is this total term becomes negative. Positive into negative becomes negative. This value is positive. If temperature, here we want to take temperature condition. If temperature is less, this negative value becomes less, then positive value predominates, then the total value is positive, then the reaction is said to be non-spontaneous. Okay, when temperature is more, so then this negative value is predominate over the positive value. Negative value predominates over the positive value, then the total process is negative and the process is said to be spontaneous. Okay, now take delta H and delta S values as negative, both has to be negative. Okay, so if both are taken as negative, delta H value is negative, delta S value is negative. Negative into negative becomes positive. This total value is now becoming positive. Okay, at low temperature, when temperature is low, this value is low, this positive value is less, this positive value is less, and negative value predominates over the positive value, then it is negative and the process is spontaneous. When temperature is high, this temperature is high, now this total value is positive we have taken. When temperature is high, at high temperature, this total term is highly positive, which is predominated over the negative, and positive, then that is said to be non-spontaneous reaction. So by this we can easily say whether the condition is positive or negative or less than temperature or more than temperature, we can easily find out. Now here what is the question? For a correct thermodynamic condition, so find out correct thermodynamic condition for the spontaneous reaction at all temperatures. At all temperatures they are asking. Okay, at all temperatures means either of these two is applicable. Now this is for spontaneous and this is for non-spontaneous. Follow this. For spontaneous reaction at all temperature, delta S is positive. Okay, delta S is positive. Positive means which is greater than 0. Delta H is negative, which is less than, delta H is 0, that is delta H is negative, which is less than 0. Delta S is positive, which is greater than 0. So the answer is the first one. delta H is less than 0, delta S is greater than 0. Like that we can easily find or solve different types of questions which are asked from this thermodynamic process. For this you want to concentrate on the theory part. Okay, if you completely know about the theory part, then it becomes very easy to solve the questions related to thermodynamics chapter. And take a screenshot of this table, which is very helpful for finding a reaction whether the spontaneous or non-spontaneous, or if it is already given spontaneous or non-spontaneous. By that we can easily find out correct thermodynamic conditions for that spontaneous or non-spontaneous reaction. Okay, so take a screenshot of this. If you are not understanding, go back and play back once again and note it down, this table, which is very important for objective exam. Okay, this is about a few important questions related to thermodynamics chapter. Based on this theory part, you just try to solve as many as possible questions which are there in your book. Okay, we'll see, we'll be in touch with another video with the new chapter. Thank you.